Hello and welcome back to another edition of the Nathan Holt Podcast. We're delighted to be joined by Matty Kosylo, Fylde winger, one promotion with Halifax, started his career at Stockport. So Matt, how you doing?
I'm good, thanks lads. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad. How have you been coping during lockdown?
Yeah, good.
I think it's been quite positive. I mean, obviously it's a serious situation. And sadly, a lot of people have lost a lot of people, and that's horrible. But for those that have been sort of complaining about lockdown, it's your perception of lockdown, I think, and I've been using it to stay fit, sort of get ready for next season because I don't think at our level it's going to be continued. And yeah, I've been focusing on things that I've got going on in terms of business and stuff. So no, it's been positive. How about you guys?
And I asked.
Sorry. Yeah, we've been alright. We're just sort of recording podcasts and stuff. But yeah, it's been alright.
Yeah.
Good lads.
In football, this question to everyone, and I get sort of different responses every time. How did you get into football?
From the very start, or
how did it come about? Yeah.
I was from what I get told off my parents, because I think people are lying if they say they remember what they were doing when they was 2. But yeah, my mum and dad said I was always kicking a football around and chasing footballs, and as I got to 4 and 5, I was football mad. So I was probably too young to join a team. But a guy called Len Cantello, ex-West Brom legend, was running a football school near in the local area. One of my friends went and then told my parents, and their parents told my parents about it, and sort of started going there, and I loved it. And then from there, I stayed going there on a regular basis till I was 7, until I could join a team.
You went to Stockport. What was it like playing for Stockport in this sort of academy and that sort of time?
To be fair, I didn't join Stockport till I was 15 and I was leaving school. I'd played Sunday League all the way through. I'd had interest from scouts and teams, and nothing ever really happened. And I went to Oldham, and I was trialling at Oldham for absolutely ages. And in the end, I said I didn't want to go back because I'd been going that long, which you're only meant to be trialling at 6 weeks at a time, I think, at clubs. So to be honest, I thought the opportunity had gone. Seeing other lads go to academies and centre of excellences and stuff, I just thought, just go and enjoy your football with your friends. And one of the lads from the Sunday League team, a goalkeeper, signed for Stockport just after I'd stopped going to Oldham, and he told me that they didn't have any strikers. And so I applied for a trial. I actually applied for one, and they got back in touch with me straight away. I trained on the Friday, did well, played against Port Vale on the Sunday at under 16 level, which was my age group at the time, and they signed me and the other striker straight away. So yeah, it was straight into the under 16s after 2 days. And it was to me, because I felt I was probably very naive in terms of football and what it was, because to me, I just wanted to be a footballer from being a kid. So to me, that was like whoa, like you've signed with a professional team now. And yeah, I remember I've done another podcast recently, and I just said, like, my dad stopped the car on the way out the training ground, and he just started crying because he's been taking me up and down the country since I was like 13, and my mum the same before that. So it was nice for them as well.
Was it difficult to leave Stockport at 19? Obviously, when Stockport were in the Football League as well.
It wasn't difficult because my contract had run out and I'd not been involved whatsoever in that sense. So they was letting me go, but it was frustrating because as as I just said, I signed for under 16s, and we had a very good age group at that age, and we all got our YTSs, as it was called, and we didn't really perform in our first year, but when we were second year scholars, we did very well. We got to the National Cup final against QPR at Loftus Road. There was 5 or 6 lads out of our age group with the first team every weekend, and we should have won the league that we was in. But because there was 5 or 6 missing every weekend, we finished 4th. So again, we all ended up getting professional contracts in our age group, and unfortunately, Gary Ablett left, who had handed them out and sort of really believed in us. We had plans to have a 23s to sort of filter us into the first team. And he left and he got ill, which is really sad, and he passed away. So Paul Simpson then came in. He's the current under-20 England manager. And he literally just dismissed us, told us that he couldn't, he was here to manage the first team, and he didn't have time to sort of mess around with young lads, which was a bitter pill to swallow really, because I think the last very good youth team, and I'm not comparing us because they've all gone on to have good careers, but the thing that they did get at the start was an opportunity. The likes of Adam Lafondra, Greg Tansey, Michael Rains, James Tunnicliffe, Ryan Crowther, all those types of lads, and Tommy Rowe, they've all had good careers. But like I say, the one thing that they did get was an opportunity in the first team.
And then you signed for Salford. I don't believe you made that many appearances there. Was that disappointing?
I actually didn't sign there. I went on loan there originally at the end of. In fact, I think I might have went on loan during my YTS there, and I played something like 4 games and scored 2, and I got injured and I did my ligaments in my ankle and I was out for ages again, injured. But yeah, you know what? I totally forgot because it was that brief. I did sign there, and I went to the first game of the season. I think it was against Warrington at home, and I was on the bench. Came on for 5 minutes and I never went back. It was literally as quick as that. I literally must have been there 1 game. And I think I went to Ashton United after that.
Obviously, you mentioned Ashton United, where you started to get more consistent football, and you were there for sort of 2 years. You done well there. Was it obviously like getting some more game time and really showing what you can do?
Yeah, I think I spoke about it recently, to be fair. I think lads would benefit massively from going out on loan into the non-league, because unfortunately there's only a small percentage that are going to make it at the top level or even the Championship and League One. So to get a taste of what it's going to be like in non-league, I think it's imperative, because it took me that 2 years at Ashton to realise what I was in. I'd gone from thinking I was in, even though it was only League One and League Two, it was a lovely setup at Stockport, great training ground, and all of a sudden you go into the likes of Prescott Cables and Matlock, which are all tough places to go and play with the pitches, and cold nights, lads flying into tackles. It was a real rude awakening, to be fair, but it gave me experience. I think I made over, I'm not sure how many appearances I made. It must have been over 70 or 80 at Ashton over the 2 years as a young lad. So it stood me in good stead.
And then I believe you played, like a few players that we've had on, you played for 3 or 4 clubs in a couple of years. I think Ashton were one, and then Vauxhall, Hyde, clubs like that. Was it difficult to settle down at so many clubs in so few years?
Yeah, I think what happened was at the end of my second year at Ashton, I'd done well. And as a young lad, I'd seen Scott Hogan progress to Hyde. And and I'd heard that there was interest in me, and unfortunately there wasn't. It must have been hearsay. But I wanted to test myself at a higher level, so I went to the Conference North with Vauxhall Motors. Didn't pay well or anything like that, and I was travelling to sort of Cheshire way, and it was good. I felt I wasn't focused as a person. I think my head was elsewhere because I think I was still in a state of disappointment that I'd been released 2 years on, and still getting used to the fact that you need to focus on every aspect of your life if you want to do well in football, and I wasn't doing that. So I think looking back, I weren't ready to make the step up in terms of focusing on all aspects, but I did perform well in games. But Vauxhall was going bust, so and he was going down the leagues. We found out, so I had to leave, and I went back to Ashton, and it didn't go well whatsoever. And I think I got sent off. Like I think it was my first game. I got sent off for 2 yellows. Like there was nothing tackles, not even worth tackling, and I got sent off. And just from there, it didn't start well, and it didn't end well. I finished the season there, and then I think I went to Droylsden. I started at Hyde the season after. Was there for around 5 games, and I wasn't playing. And I just wanted to play football, so I went to Droylsden and didn't play there either. And it was sort of a wasted period, I think.
And then you left those sort of clubs and went to Nantwich Town, where you really, similar to your time at sort of Ashton, where you really started to hit form, and you got to an FA Trophy semi-final. You became the young player of the season. What was it like in that 2-year spell where you really started to, again, show what you're worth again and show your ability?
Well, believe it or not, I didn't start well again at Nantwich. I signed there because Danny Johnson, the ex-Ashton manager who had me, he'd wanted me to sign there when he originally went. But I'd signed for Vauxhall Motors because I wanted to test myself at a higher division. So I went and signed for Nantwich, and he told me I would play, and I was in and out, and I couldn't get any consistency. And unfortunately, DJ got the sack, and Phil Parkinson got the job, who's now the Altrincham manager, and he was just brilliant. I'd never met him, and he rang me as soon as he got the job, as he did with all the other players, which was good. And he just said, "I've heard things about you. I've heard you're a good player. I wanna get the best out of you." And literally, I'd not scored all season, I don't think. And within that short period, I'd scored 4 goals under him, and I thought we're gonna be decent next season. So I stayed, signed a contract there, and we should have got the playoffs really, but you know what non-league's like, because we got the FA Trophy run and games got postponed. In the end, after we got knocked out of the FA Trophy, we was playing Saturday, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. So it had an effect on the squad. We only had a small squad, and we ended up finishing outside the playoffs as well.
What was it like? Obviously, you had a good season personally. You got the Young Player of the Season award, and again, obviously, talk about that FA Trophy run. You beat Dover, and you played against Halifax. You then signed for as well.
Yeah, it was. Do you know what? I was buzzing to get Young Player because some people commented saying I was a bit too old as I was 23, but I was buzzing because it was just nice to know that my efforts off the pitch, on the pitch was being noticed, and I think all I ever wanted to do was do well and prove to myself that I was good enough to get a move eventually. Because that season I'd trained with Rochdale. They'd contacted me and wanted me to go in. I trained with Crewe, but nothing ever materialised. And obviously we played against Halifax. To be honest, I was gutted with it though. I weren't gutted. I ran on the pitch when we scored because it was last minute, but I'd just been taken off and I was having a good game. But Steve Jones, who come on for me, and Liam Shotton, who come on at the same time, Steve set it up and Shot scored. So good management by Parky. And and it saved us going to Dover on a Tuesday night.
And then when you did sign for Halifax, I believe there was a fee behind it. Did you feel the pressure of the fee?
No, not really, because I mean it's not your Premier League fees, is it? I don't think players, whether it's £5 grand, 10 grand, or 5 million or 50 million, it's like the football players can't do anything about it. It's sort of, they become a victim of their own success by them doing well. All of a sudden they're rated at this value by chairmans and clubs, and then as soon as they get bought for it and they've done great business for that club, they get criticised. So I don't think they take too much notice of it if they can. But yeah, I mean, I was excited to go to Halifax. When I played there in the semi-final, we went to the stadium, and the stadium was great. The fan base was great. So I was at that point, I was really excited to get going.
Was it exciting to get back playing full-time football again at Halifax? Or did it take some time to adjust to that again?
It was part-time. It was part-time at the time. We was training Tuesday, Thursday, so that meant I could still work as well. So we obviously did the Conference North season. I didn't really get a look in at the start. And then I'd sort of come back from an injury and scored 2 in 2 against Dagenham and then Kidderminster. And I just asked for my chance. I just wanted a fair crack at the whip. And the manager gave that to me. I don't think I was out the team for the rest of the season. Went on to score double figures. Had a really good season. Loved every minute of it. And we finished it off by winning in the playoff final in front of 8,000 fans.
And that season you finished third, and obviously you went on into the playoffs. But how did it feel to finish third?
Do you know what? We got to a point, I think we played Fylde at home near the end of the season. I don't know how many games was left. But I'm okay saying this because I play for Fylde as well now. There was an Instagram post by one of the players at Christmas time saying this is what promotion looks like. So we'd posted that on the inside of the changing room, and we felt we could catch them if we could beat them on that day. And it got out that we'd done that, and we got beat 1-0 at home. Danny Rowe scored, I think. So I think that game ruled out the title challenge for us in terms of trying to catch Fylde, but we felt if we could finish third or second would fancy ourselves. Obviously, we ended up finishing third behind Kidderminster, who was a good team that year. I don't know how we beat them twice. I think the away game, it was, I didn't play, I was watching it, but the possession must have been about 70-30, and they battered us. They missed a penalty, and we ended up scoring a penalty with like 5 minutes to go. So I think we had the mental edge going into them playoffs. We'd done well against the teams in and around us. So we played Salford, we beat them on penalties, which was great, in front of our fans. And then we were surprised. We thought we was playing away at Kidderminster in the final, and all of a sudden Chorley come back and win. So we was really confident going into that final.
What did you make of that final? Because obviously Halifax scored a late goal in the extra time. It was 8,000 people there. Would you say that final was the best moment in your career, winning that game? Yeah.
So far. You can't. I mean, it would definitely be that. Testing yourself against higher opposition, obviously in the FA Cup and things like that, is great. But to win a final at home in front of your own fans, and there was so many there, 8,000, and to win it in the manner that we did. Jordan Sinnott setting both goals up. God bless him. He was unbelievable that day, and I think personally he was probably the only player that was calm on that day. I think in the play, a lot of it, you wouldn't say the game was enjoyable. It was, you just wanted to win. It wasn't a very enjoyable game. I don't think any of the playoffs was, because it was that tight. But Yeah, unbelievable day. Best game I've been involved in with the outcome.
And then the next season, Halifax had a good year in the National League and comfortably got mid-table. Did you enjoy making the step up?
Yeah, and I mean that's when I got involved in my business Herbalife, because I knew I was going to be going up against full-time opposition, lads who was training every day, and the fitness would have been at optimal level. And I felt I needed to step it up fitness-wise, although I was fit. So yeah, I got involved with that, and I stepped my training up, and I stepped up my efforts. I think we got taught a lesson off Aldershot the first game of the season, and we sort of, that humbled us a bit. And then we got beat off Dover, I think it was. We just scored last minute, and we was going to go for the win, and it was my fault. I should have kept the ball in the corner. And I went and crossed it, and they went up the other end and scored again, and I couldn't believe it. So we was there or thereabouts, and we was getting beat, but I didn't feel it was far away. So I think we played Chester. We drew 0-0, and then Solihull away, and we won our first game. And from there, we went on a real run. I think we ended up, I don't know how many games it was in, but we got to play Leyton Orient away on a Tuesday night, and we won 3-0. And we was on the coach buzzing. We was top of the league, and I said to one of the lads, I'm sure it was the captain Matty Brown, and I said, I thought you said this league was difficult. And like I was like, we're playing so well, Brownie, we've clicked. And before you know it, was on a 20-game winless streak.
Obviously that season, I remember when Halifax came to Ebbsfleet, and obviously you got you and obviously Tom Denton as a bit of a combo. Obviously you done well that season, and so did Denton. What was it like, obviously, being part of that sort of big man, small man sort of combo?
I think I probably took it for granted to start off with. It was tough to get the relationship with him at first, because he didn't just flick the ball on, he used to head it. Like, there's a difference between a header and a flick on, and he used to head it, and it used to go miles. So I used to always say to him, Dent, just flick it so I can run straight onto it. And we ended up linking up really well. Josh McDonald out on the right, who was an out-and-out winger, would just beat you for pace and cross it. So he suited Dents really well. I would run him behind a lot off Dents, and then you had Adam Morgan, who used to come to feet and was just an out-and-out finisher. So we had a really good relationship, all four of us, and I just wish it lasted a little bit longer, because as soon as the game started sort of getting away from us, we sort of got split up and went more defensive. But yeah, really enjoyed playing with them three guys.
And then again, Halifax finished 15th the next season. Was it disappointing that you weren't being able to like push a little bit further, see if you're getting in around that last spot of the playoffs? Yeah,
I think again we started unbelievably. We was top of the league, and the manager had manager of the month and stuff. And we felt fit, we felt organised. But again, I think we just didn't, that year we didn't have the striker that we needed, until we ended up signing Devante and Manny Duku at the end. And again, we went on another run then. So I think we had, I'm not being disrespectful to Dale Southwell, we signed him, but I don't think he was the lone striker type, and I don't think he'll mind me saying that. I think he would have preferred to play up front with somebody, as he's a goal scorer. And yeah, I think we could have done with a real handful of a striker in the end, and Dale got injured, unfortunately. So it was just lack of consistency that season. I think defensively we was very good. On certain games we was very good going forward, but then we just didn't score enough goals.
And obviously you left Halifax that summer. Pete Wild came in. Was it tough to leave Halifax, obviously, after making so many good memories and probably the best moments of your career so far?
Yeah, being honest, and everybody knows this, like from a Halifax perspective, Salford bid for me twice in the final season, and I really wanted to go, only for the simple fact that there was a club on the up. It was 5 minutes away from my house. And even though I'm a City fan, growing up, the class of '92 was massive, and I would always watch them, even though I was a City fan, because they was the best players around in England at the time. So to get them, to have them interested in me, it was like, again, it felt like an under 16s moment, and signing for Stockport, it was like, wow. But it never happened. Halifax rejected both bids, and sort of, I knew if it didn't happen then if Salford went up, and which they did, they was going to sign higher calibre players from higher up. So I was disappointed in that sense, and leaving was nothing to do with Halifax. Like, I'll say it now, Halifax is an unbelievable place. The fans are great, the stadium's great, and they are built as a Football League club. They just need to, I don't know what it is. They was in the playoffs this year, so that just shows. So yeah, it was tough. But at the same time, I was just desperate to progress, and Fylde was so close to get into the Football League. So they was interested, and they offered me a deal, and I thought, if Salford have gone up and Fylde was there or thereabouts, we're going to have a really good season, and it's not panned out. It's not panned out that way.
And you obviously signed for Fylde, and like the season before, they'd got to the FA Trophy final and they'd won it, and they got to the playoff final and they only lost to Salford. And obviously, they were one of the favourites to go up that season. What were Challinger's ambitions for the club at the time?
Simple: get promoted. Get promoted. The players that we signed was all good performers in the league this season before. This year, Mark Yates, 20 plus assists for Eastleigh. Yeah. Myself, I'd scored goals over the past 2 seasons and done well. We already had Danny Rowe, Nick Horton, Dan Bradley, Ryan Crosdale, Phyllis Kirk. We had a very, very strong squad, but for one reason or another, it just hasn't clicked. It's not gone to plan, and sometimes that happens in football. And you've just got to move on and get ready for next season.
Obviously, what have you made of this season? Because obviously, looking down at the table, I've always seen sort of Fylde down there and thinking, oh, they'll make a run and get out of it. But that run hasn't seemed to come. And obviously, had Jim Bentley come in, you got a couple of results, but haven't really. You think at the end you were starting to get a couple of results at the end. Do you think that maybe you would have made a sort of a push to get out of it in the end? Because the quality in the side at Fylde is obviously it's clear as day, isn't it?
I think with everything that's gone on was a bad time for us, because, like you just said, we hadn't really put a run together since Jim had come in, the gaffer. But the last few games, we'd got 7 points out of 9, and we were starting to just learn to be ugly and win ugly, and not really worry about how we played. So the lads were starting to do that. So I think this came at a bad time for us, and I don't know how the league's going to end up and finish. But I think it'd be unfair if, well, the league table doesn't lie, but I think with the form that we're starting to show, we would have picked up more points, and I believe that the lads would have got out of it.
How tough is this period? Because obviously we're Ipswich supporters, and we think, obviously a lot of teams think that when they're down there, they're going to get out of it. And obviously, how tough is it? Because obviously we don't know if it's going to be PPG. You could be playing in the National League North. Ipswich could be playing in the National League South next season, or it could be voided. How tough is it not knowing, obviously, like what league Fylde could be playing in this year?
Yeah, it's difficult because no one wants to get relegated. But unfortunately, it's like we can't. It's an uncontrollable. So what I've taught myself is to only focus on the controllables that you've got in life. So there's no point getting stressed and disheartened. It will be gutting if Fylde do get relegated, but you can't do anything about it. You can only prepare and go again next season. I joined Halifax just after they'd been relegated, and we went on to get promoted straight away because we had a good group and we stopped the rot of going down and gained momentum to go back up, and that was key.
And we don't obviously know when the next season will start or what. But do you have any plans in terms of clubs and contracts with Fylde and stuff like that?
I can't really speak too much based on nobody knows what's happening. But yeah, there's a few lads who could move on. That's the same at probably every club. I think I spoke to someone at Halifax and they've got loads of lads out of contract because there was only 1 year deals signed. So a lot of players, a lot of clubs will be wondering what's going on their personal side and also on the club side. But I don't know what's happening for me personally yet.
Do you want to go for your best 11?
Go for it, yeah. Let's go for it. So in net, I've gone Sam Johnson at Halifax. It was tough because I played with Drenchy as well. And technically, Stephen Drench is unbelievable. But Sam just tips it for me because he saved us so many points when we was at Halifax. Got promoted with him in that, and he's such a big figure in terms of his physique. He's huge. So Sam in that. Kev Roberts, right back, scorer of the goal in the Conference North playoff final, and I think just for consistency and experience, I've never really seen him get beat one-on-one. Kev Roberts is now at Chester. He'd have to be in there. He's the best right back I've played with. So yeah, Kev Roberts at right back. Nathan Clark and Matty Brown at centre half. The Halifax pairing now. The last 2 seasons have been very, very good, and they've conceded not a lot of goals, to be honest. I think last season, not the one that's just gone, we was a struggling side for periods, and they was very, very good. Andy White, left back, who is Altringham's left back. I was at Nantwich with him. Should have played higher than what he's played. He was very, very good. He played out of position at Nantwich, played right back, and he always used to cut in on his left. And he was very, very quick, very agile. So I'd have to go with him. I used to hate playing against him in training. Centre midfielders, Mickey Collins and Elliot Osborne. So Mickey's now the youth team manager at Sunderland. He's stopped playing, but he came to Halifax and he brought my game on so much. Like he'd give me the ball when I probably didn't want it. And just improve my game. He was so good. Played professionally for so long. So he'd be my holder. And then Elliot Osborne, I was with him at Nantwich. He's now at Stockport, and technically very, very good. Big engine on him, so he would run a lot box to box as well. And when he got his move to Fleetwood, I think he scored over 20 goals for Nantwich from midfield. So very good player. Out wide on the right, Steve Jones. You might not know him. I was with him at Nantwich. He was 37, I think, at that point. So his best days was behind him, but he was so quick still. Like 37 years of age, he was rapid. Played for Northern Ireland, played for Burnley, played for Crewe, Walsall. Really, really good career. And on the left, we're going to go Danny Rowe, who's now at Ipswich. I was at Stockport with him. I bet you thought Danny Rowe from Fylde.
Yeah, I thought he'd go wide.
Yeah, I was going to put Danny Rowe in from Fylde, but I'd not played with him the past few seasons where he was on fire. So Danny Rowe from Ipswich, I was with him at Stockport. I remember when we signed him, he weren't in our under-16s team. He'd come from Bolton. He'd been released from Bolton, signed for us as a YT, and I remember thinking in training, this kid's on a different level. Why is he signed here? He was taking like 7-8 players on at a time in training, and he was just ability-wise very, very good. And he's obviously at Ipswich now. So yeah, in the 10, Adam Morgan. Off the field and attitude probably could have been better, and probably played and the mental experiences he's struggled with has played an effect on where he plays now. Finishing wise, unbelievable. Doesn't need any backlift. I think every other week he's scoring a goal from the halfway line wherever he's playing. So for him to be in the 10, natural finisher and can link play. And then up top, Scott Hogan was at Ashton with him. Saw big glimpses of what he was capable of. Very, very quick. I almost put Tom Denton in, but I wanted someone mobile, and Dents isn't very mobile, and he won't mind me saying that.
If you had to pick one manager from your if you pick one manager, who would you pick to manage that 11?
Phil Parkinson, Altrincham.
Okay.
Just the football Altrincham playing, the football Nantwich played very, very good, and I believe he should be going on to manage higher.
We ask all our guests here before they go, what is your best moment in your career so far?
I'd probably say getting promoted. For the simple fact it was a great outcome from the season. We'd had a 10-game run where we didn't win. To top it off, getting beat by Staley Bridge. So there was a real low during that season. But from there, we went on to win loads of games. Went on a real strong run and ended up getting promoted. So yeah, that, and then playing in the conference. So. Yeah.
So thanks for your time, Matt. All the best with Fylde if you stay at Fylde, or wherever your career goes. All the best with the herbal life stuff as well. Thanks for your time, Matt, and all the best.
No problem. Cheers, lads.
Cheers, Matt.
Bye bye.